King Conchobar awoke with a start. His heart pounded in his chest as he sat up abruptly, the remnants of a vivid dream still lingering in his mind. The sun already streamed through the gaps in his wooden walls, casting long golden beams across the room. It was a beautiful morning, but the king had no time to admire it. He was late. A great battle was to be fought this day, one that would determine the fate of his kingdom. His warriors were already preparing, donning their armor and sharpening their swords. But before he rode out to join them, the king had a wish, a deep, heartfelt desire that he needed to fulfill. He longed to see the Boy Corp, the Macha, at play. These young lads, full of life and energy, reminded him of simpler times. "Bring me a herald!" he boomed, his voice echoing through the wooden halls of his chamber. A young man, swift and strong, ran to the king's side. He bowed low, his eyes filled with respect and eagerness to serve. "Go!" the king commanded, "to the fields beyond the river." His voice was firm, but there was a hint of urgency in his tone. "Tell the Boy Corp I would see them play before the battle." The king smiled, a rare and genuine smile that softened his usually stern features. He loved to watch their games, their youthful energy. It reminded him of his own childhood, of days spent running through fields and laughing with friends. It always lifted his spirits. In those moments, he felt a sense of peace and hope, a reminder of what he was fighting for, the future of his kingdom, embodied in the joy and innocence of these young boys. The herald raced across the fields, his cloak billowing behind him. He reached the river, its waters sparkling in the sun. He crossed the ford and arrived at the playing field, but something was wrong. The field was empty. There were no shouts, no laughter. Only silence hung in the air. He saw a lone figure by the edge of the field. It was a young boy, his face streaked with tears. "Where are the Boy Corp?" the herald asked gently. "The king wishes to see them play." The boy looked up, his eyes filled with sadness. "They're gone," he whispered. The herald knelt before the boy. "Gone? Where could they possibly be? Tell me, little one, what has happened?" The boy choked back a sob. "Cuchulain is wounded," he said. "He is all alone, surrounded by enemies. Cuchulain, the bravest warrior in all of Ulster." But he was just a boy, barely older than the Boy Corp themselves. "And the Boy Corp?" the herald asked softly. "What of them? They went to help him." The boy's voice was barely a whisper. "They said a true warrior never abandons a friend." The herald's heart sank. He had seen many things in his time, but this was different. The weight of the news he carried was almost too much to bear. He knew what this meant. The implications were grave, and the consequences could be dire. The Boy Corp, young as they were, had gone to war. These were not seasoned warriors, but mere children, barely old enough to understand the true horrors of battle. They had defied the king's order, risking their lives for their friend. Their bravery was undeniable, but so was their naivety. "Why are you here alone?" the herald asked. His voice was gentle, but the question carried the weight of his concern. He already knew the answer. The boy's presence here, alone, spoke volumes. The boy looked down at his feet. His small frame seemed even smaller under the burden of his emotions. "I am too small," he mumbled. His voice was barely audible, a whisper of regret and sorrow. "They wouldn't let me go." His words were filled with a mix of frustration and sadness. Tears welled up in his eyes again. The pain of being left behind was almost too much for him to bear. "They said I should stay and tell the tale of their bravery." His voice cracked as he spoke, the responsibility weighing heavily on his young shoulders. The herald placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. It was a small gesture, but it carried a world of comfort and understanding. He saw the boy's anguish, his desire to be with his friends, to share their fate. The longing in the boy's eyes was unmistakable. It was a terrible thing to be left behind. The herald knew that the boy's heart was with his friends on the battlefield, even if his body was not. The weight of his duty to tell their story was a heavy burden for such young shoulders to bear. The herald returned to the king. He told him of the empty field, the weeping boy, and the courageous decision of the Boy Corp. King Conchobar listened, his face grim. He understood the bond between the boys, the loyalty that had compelled them to act. They had chosen to face danger and death for their friend. "These are no ordinary boys," the king said softly. "These are heroes." He knew their bravery would be sung of for generations, but it was a song tinged with sadness. The king knew that many of those brave boys would never return. The Boy Corp, known as the Macha, fought with unmatched ferocity. They were young, but their hearts were filled with the courage of lions. They battled their way through enemy ranks, their cries echoing across the battlefield. They reached Cuchulain, wounded but still fighting. Their arrival spurred him on. Together they fought like demons, holding off the enemy until reinforcements arrived. But their victory came at a terrible price. When the battle was over, the field was littered with the bodies of the slain. And among them lay the boys of the Macha, their young lives given in the service of friendship and bravery. The tale of the Macha is a tragic one. It is a story that has been etched into the very fabric of Irish history, a story that resonates with the echoes of bravery and sacrifice. It speaks of sacrifice and loyalty, of courage beyond measure. They were just boys, mere children who should have been playing in the fields, laughing and dreaming of the future. Yet they faced death without hesitation, standing tall in the face of overwhelming odds. Their hearts were filled with a sense of duty and honor that belied their tender years, their love for their friend greater than their fear. They held each other close, drawing strength from their bond, knowing that their unity was their greatest weapon. Their story has been passed down through generations, whispered by the fireside, written in the annals of history. It is a tale that has inspired countless others to acts of selflessness and bravery. Inspiring countless others to acts of selflessness and bravery. Their legacy is not just one of sacrifice, but of the enduring power of friendship and the human spirit. The Macha may be gone, their physical presence lost to the sands of time, but their spirit remains. But their legend lives on, a beacon of hope and courage for all who hear it. It is a testament to the enduring power of friendship and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. A testament to the enduring power of friendship and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. Their story is a reminder that true bravery knows no age, and that the bonds of friendship can transcend even the greatest of challenges. Their names may be lost to time, but their deeds are immortal. They live on in the hearts and minds of those who remember them, a shining example of what it means to be truly courageous. But their sacrifice will never be forgotten. Each year, people gather to honor their memory, laying flowers at memorials, sharing stories of their bravery, and ensuring that their legacy endures. They are the Macha, the Boy Corp, a group of young souls who gave everything for a cause greater than themselves. And their courage will echo through the ages. Their story is a timeless reminder that even in the darkest of times, the light of bravery and friendship can shine through, guiding us all towards a better future.